It's the turn now of the United Kingdom to look closely at the prospect of restricting end-to-end encryption, the technology that ensures that your WhatsApp or Signal communications, whatever you use on your phone, cannot be seen by anyone other than you and the person that you're communicating with. Now, we've had this debate in India. It's basically about the right to privacy versus the right to ensure safety. The UK online safety bill is meant to force internet companies to remove illegal content. But what then about privacy and the right to privacy when we communicate? Joining us, Matt Navarra, former digital communications advisor to the UK government, and Ankit Sharma, a spokesperson for Cybel. Thank you both very much for being with us. Mr. Navarra, is this likely to go through in the United Kingdom? Is it your sense that this government will push this through? Because if it does, for starters, several of these service providers, WhatsApp, Signal, Telegram, may choose not to do business in the United Kingdom at all.
Well, it does seem that way. They've been pushing this agenda for some time, that they are not comfortable with the lack of provisions to kind of keep people safe online, and that with encrypted messaging that there is a way that criminals can abuse that encryption, and they want to find a way to protect younger and more vulnerable users by a series of measures and laws that kind of give more control back to users and to the government. But the rules and ideas around encryption have been, as you say, opposed by most of the big tech companies, who feel it, once you do that for one tech company and give a opening into encryption, then the whole system breaks down. So there's a lot of opposition from big tech.
Ankit, why must we be having this debate at all, since it's well known that governments around the world use software like Pegasus and are already probably snooping on us? So that being the case, I mean, why are we necessarily debating this?
So first of all, we have to understand one thing, that there cannot be a British internet or a version of end-to-end encryption that is just specific to UK, right? If something has to be changed, it has to be changed for every damn country that is that is there, right? Again, the thing related to the encryption. So this is not the first time this particular thing actually surfaced in UK. This is the third time it got surfaced, right? So from Cameroon to Blair, Boris Johnson as well, right? So it has been featured a surface third time and in last 20 years. So, we have to understand one thing, right? Because you don't know where to stop. When you start, decrypting all the necessary messages of every individual, right? All sort of personal messages as well. You don't know whether it is going to be used for the legit purpose or not. What are the modes, or what are the things that, or the barriers that they are going to implement, so that the purpose which is established to monitor such kind of a traffic is being followed or not, right? Because once it gets into the mass surveillance kind of a thing, things are going to be very difficult for the individuals as well.
Sure.
And the worst part is, yeah.
Matt, I'm just trying to understand if, for example, the British government chooses to go ahead and gets this made into a law, then, how would it work? And if these companies, Telegram, Signal, WhatsApp, etc., stay on in the United Kingdom, then they can actually be monitoring communications between a user in the United Kingdom and a user somewhere else in the world. So, snooping wouldn't be restricted territorially to just the United Kingdom.
Well, this is part of the problem, that the online harms bill, or the online safety bill in the UK, doesn't actually specify specifically what they want to do in terms of making encryption safer in the way that they're trying to. They've kind of got rules in place, or they want to put rules in place that give them the ability to implement changes to the way that encryption works, to give its regulator, Ofcom, the power to implement things further down the line. But the solutions that they're sort of alluding to or suggesting for how encryption can be made safer and be able to be workable for everybody in the way that they're suggesting, don't seem like realistic propositions. And the problem is that the tech companies have said for many years, and experts across all industries who know a lot about encryption, more than I do, have already said that once you break encryption and give somebody a backdoor or somewhere an entryway into it, it can be exploited, or it could be misused and abused. So there isn't really a solution. And the only one that's been put forward, I believe, is like pre-scanning of messages on your device. So it's still kind of breaking encryption and is a massive invasion of privacy. So there's all sorts of issues for privacy. There's all sorts of issues with data transfers and territories, as you mentioned, and no real workable solution has been put forward. So I suspect that Meta and others will keep to their word and will pull out of the UK on for messaging if the law goes forwards, I think.
On the other hand, Matt, what the law tries to do in the United Kingdom is very noble. I mean, to protect children, for example, to prevent pedophiles operating, through WhatsApp or whatever it is. What is the way forward if you're trying to enforce the protection or the safety, for example, of children, and yet you want to ensure that encryption still remains? Or is it just one or the other?
Well, there isn't a solution been put forward that everybody can agree on. Sometimes with solutions or cures to things, it's often that the cure is worse than the illness it's trying to sort of solve. It's a question at the moment of what other measures possibly could the UK government and others put in place that add protections for younger users, and everything from the idea of age restrictions and barriers for different types of content and apps, sort of more severe penalties for content moderation for the companies, so there's a bigger incentive for them to take action. There's obviously a piece to do with education, an ongoing piece to do with schools and parents and users being able to have more control over what they're doing and seeing, but also how to use it in a safer way. But in terms of the specific things around encryption, there isn't a solution that works where it doesn't break encryption, but it somehow gives organizations like the police or other bodies a way of tracking criminal activity or protecting those users that they're trying to sort of shield. So sure, we're sort of at an impasse at the moment between the UK government and the tech companies.
We're in this impasse over here in India as well. Look, we're completely out of time. I'd like to thank you both very much for joining us. I think the ramifications of that argument in the United Kingdom and whether this law gets pushed through will have an impact in several countries around the world, certainly India as well.